everybody a little bit of time to get in here. As anybody who's in Tusk Talk with Ty Discord had seen me talk about earlier, I hadn't originally planned on going live. It was our oldest daughter's 13th birthday, so we were kind of making it we had her cake and was kind of hanging out with family and also watching the game. And we were going to bed and I had the game on my phone and I was trying to keep up with it as best I could. And of course, we've got Home Improvement on the television, right? And watching this thing unfold on my phone, my wife could tell I was getting pretty like, here we go again. And I made several comments about how this program really is just cursed. So it's crazy. So we'll give everyone just a little bit of time. Hang on, I can't share since I'm streaming from my phone. Hang on, how do we do this? Here we go. Like I said, I know I told everyone I wasn't planning on streaming or doing a post game, but I figured why not. So yeah, my wife's out cold. Kids are in bed, and I'm in here complaining about the Razorbacks. Tell me why. Just tell me why. Dylan says definitely cursed. I'm going to tell you, man, I'm not a tinfoil hat guy when it comes to, I'm not. I don't believe like curses are a thing it's weird with me, right? Like there are things that happen during baseball, like our negative spirit bomb that we do in Discord. We talked about that earlier in the week. And now we do this whole fried chicken thing in Discord. When Arkansas is not finding, when they're not getting it done at the plate, right? We start doing this whole, fried chicken thing. I don't know. I don't even know how that began, honestly. We just started talking about fast food. I think it was actually during the basketball season, maybe. And all of a sudden, Arkansas turns it around. I don't even know how that started. I don't know when it started. But it seemed to work. And then the same thing with the negative spirit bomb, right? So I say I'm not a tinfoil hat guy. I say I don't believe in curses. I guess tinfoil hat would have more to do with not necessarily have anything to do with tinfoil or curses, but would have more to do with conspiracy theories. But I don't know, man. There's something real about Arkansas and Omaha, and I can't really figure it out. They just I don't know. It's either we could talk about Dave Van Horn's style of play just not fitting in that place, but you know what? Then okay, but at the same time, Arkansas couldn't get out of their own regional the last 2 years. They've been eliminated. You recall NC State knocking you out of your own Fayetteville regional. Like, I think it maybe I don't know. I really cannot figure this team out. I can't figure out Dave. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and call for him to be fired. I'm not going to say that he needs to step down. He needs to retire and all this. I'm not one of those people. But I will say, like, I've mentioned this before, but I get where that comes from. And it is really frustrating that they cannot figure this thing out in Omaha. I don't know. I also said when we first started talking about postseason play and we were talking about Omaha, I mean, I'm going to say it, like, this was a team that absolute LSU concerned me 100%. And I even recall saying, and if Travis is in chat, if Travis is in the live chat, what did I say? I feel like LSU is going to wind up in the championship game, and they're better than Arkansas, and I think that's the tough thing. That's what's tough to accept. Like you felt like with Arkansas's talent, with their depth, now they're you look at the stat sheet through the year, they lead in like every offensive category outside of steals, and and then you look at the team ERA and how deep their bullpen is and their fielding percentage is insane. Like this was the complete package. So then you lose to LSU, who statistically, and I know, stats don't, you play on the field, not on a piece of paper. I get that. But it's still, though, there's something to be said when you play in this conference, as tough as it is, to accomplish what Arkansas has accomplished, only to fall flat on their faces in Omaha again to LSU, who you feel like, even though you lost at their place, remember game 1, Arkansas could have won that series. I don't think LSU and Arkansas are like 1A, 1B. I think LSU, I get Coastal Carolina's got a win streak that's incredible. I think LSU takes that thing. Maybe not clean. It may not be a sweep, but I think LSU's going to take that thing. I think what we witnessed, this to me felt like a national championship. And what do you know? Arkansas shit their pants here too. I understand the frustration with Nate Thompson, with how they just struggled to get runs home. And I mean, I think they got 9 hits tonight. 5 runs, which is not easy against this LSU roster. It's not easy against that LSU bullpen, but my God. It's just, it's like a buddy of mine told me who's not an Arkansas fan. He went to school at Tulsa. And he and I were texting back and forth, and he said, "You know what? I would kill to have to be from Arkansas to have that kind of program." And I'm like, "Look, man, you're a mid-major, like you're Tulsa. Like there's, so many, mid-majors. I mean, we've got one in our own state. We got a couple that I know would trade places with Arkansas in a heartbeat. I get that. I get that argument, and people toss that at me a lot. Like, look, it could be, we could be like, I don't know, think of a mediocre SEC team that doesn't even make Omaha, that would love to be in our position. I get that argument, but it's like, there's a reason why fans feel like this program is cursed. They feel like this baseball program is cursed. They feel like football is just, like they've dug themselves into a hole of mediocrity that they can't get out of. There's a reason why fans feel this way. And, it goes all the way back to when you joined the SEC. Period. I mean, for football, at least. Basketball's done okay, done really well. And baseball has been dominant over the last decade. But there's all sorts of different things we could point our fingers at, I guess, is kind of the point that I'm making. And I get all these arguments. I understand where they're coming from. I think a lot of it's coming from frustration. But, yeah, I don't know. Tonight, I mean, you had a chance to turn a double play. I don't know what Vahiva was thinking there. And then you saw how the rest unfolded. It just – man, it feels like we've been here before. It's like deja vu every time they get to Omaha. And except this time, what was different was that this legitimately, both, on paper and the fact that they walked right through the regional and super regionals, this felt like the best team in college baseball, even going into Omaha. Between them and probably, you could make the argument for LSU, of course, and Coastal Carolina, who was riding that win streak, although let's take a look at who they were playing. But still, I mean, I don't know, man. This one felt real. This felt like you believed in the hype. And I don't know, like, listen, I every year this team goes to Omaha, we all buy in a little bit, right? But it's rarely that Arkansas is hot going into Omaha. It's rarely that Arkansas on the stat sheet is so much better than the field. It's rare. When was the last time Arkansas was the highest seed left? Has that ever happened? Like there was legitimate reasoning behind the belief in this team in 2025. You were backed up with, just a behemoth of a roster when you talk about talent. The broadcasters tonight talked about it. They said that how would they call it? These two mega programs going at it or something like that. He made that comment towards the final, like the 6th inning or 7th inning, making the comment talking about Coastal Carolina waiting and then having to watch these two behemoths, something like that. I mean, there's a reason. There's substance there, right? And then only to fall flat on your face the way that they did. And I hate it for the kids. I hate it for the staff. And, of course, fans, all the fans that stuck it out in Omaha. That's brutal. Oh, God, that's brutal. This one stings a lot because, again, you really, even though they got hit in the first game, with how good the pitching was, right? I mean, you needed your starting pitching the rest of the, after the LSU lost in the next two games, you needed your starting pitching to be fantastic, and they were. It was exactly what you needed. It felt like Arkansas is set up to make this go to an elimination game for both LSU and Arkansas. They're set up to maybe get to the final to move on to play Coastal Carolina, and to end it that way, it's almost, I don't know, it's poetic for everybody else. For Arkansas fans, it's just pure agony, and I hate it. I don't know what else to say. I mean, it's just. I think the better team won. I've been concerned about LSU in this matchup since the Supers. Someone made a comment about West Virginia was going to beat LSU, and I laughed like they're not going to stand a chance. And they didn't. They got 2-0'd. LSU is the juggernaut, and I think Arkansas is kind of right. They're right there with them. I know they are. They were right there with them. I mean, but they've got your number, right? They've got Arkansas's number. How many times did Arkansas beat them out of 5 matchups, right? So it just is what it is. I do still believe that Arkansas they had a shot at winning that series in Baton Rouge. They had a shot, just like they did tonight. Oh yeah, hold on, my bad. I can look at super chats here. Somehow they've changed how they do this now, haven't they? How the hell do you look at your super chats? I guess I'll have to scroll up. Hold on. Mike says Hurts. Yeah. That's what, what? I can just read off my computer. Why don't I do that? Oh, this is weird. Okay. Travis Ford with the $10 super chat. Travis is probably like, why did you do this? You said you weren't going to. Forget that bullshit argument. That's a pussy participation trophy. I have no idea did I say something about a participation trophy? I don't know if that's aimed at me or. Remember when Mississippi State had the greatest baseball team ever to win a natty, with Will the Thrill Clark and company, and now there's us. This just sucks. Thanks for the super chat. Okay, we got through them. Complete team just does not equate to natties in football. No, well, hold on. Oh, in football. What do you mean by hold on? Complete team just does not equate to natties. Did you mean in baseball? I think that's a complete team in football has a far better shot at making a run into the playoffs. The best regular season teams all year rarely win in Omaha. I mean, there's truth in that. There's just truth in that. Arkansas, I don't know if they were the best team all year, but they were certainly one of the top 5, top 8 programs all year, as they have been like every year for the last decade. They just don't, listen, at the end of the day, Dave Van Horn is definitely a coach that can get you there. He can recruit as good as anybody, if not better than most of the field, can rack up a hell of a roster, and can put really good teams on the field. But he struggles to do, it's rare that you see him have a great pitching, phenomenal pitching matched up with phenomenal hitting like we saw this year. And it was only good enough to get you eliminated right before the championship series. That's baseball. I mean, if that's what you were talking about, Judd, a complete team is not good enough to win a national championship. I think you could probably say that about any sport. I mean, there's definitely been years in the NCAA tournament and hoops where you felt like the best team got eliminated way quicker than they should have. And the same thing with football, but it certainly helps your chances. Oh, I see there. You said I meant baseball. My bad. Yeah. I mean, there's been complete teams who float around the top 5 most of the year and don't get to Omaha. I mean, that's just what sucks about the sport. And I'm going to say this. I don't mean to say this to throw mud at fans, at casual baseball fans. But because Arkansas is good at baseball, it's attracted a lot of football and basketball fans that are more like casual baseball fans. And so when you apply the rules of baseball into their trio of love of sports between basketball, baseball, and football, and you see this unfold the way that it has, it's even more upsetting for people, and a lot of the casuals who don't watch the games, they only kind of come around when it's super regionals or Omaha, and then it gets inflamed on Twitter, and everyone's mad, everyone's angry. But I hate it for, first off, the people that traveled, and I hate it for the fans that watched every single game and hung on to every single pitch. Those are the fans that I'm like, damn, and listen, I watched probably 90% of the season, but I do it more so I can stay informed. I do love the game of baseball. But I see it from a different angle. But the fan, you don't have money invested in this. Well, maybe you do. But, you don't have money invested in this. You're not watching this because it's kind of your job. You're watching it because of your pure love of Razorback sports or of Razorback baseball. And to have that unfold the way that it did, it stings. And I feel for that fan. Now, the casual fan who's just butthurt, who just came along during Omaha, for you, I think you're going to be fine in like a couple of days. But the diehard fan this one's going to hurt all offseason, all the way until next year. And you know what, though? That same fan is going to do it all over again next year because they're not casuals. They're diehards. And again, this isn't you're a fake fan argument. I get it. Baseball it's not America's, it's not what it was as far as how we used to view baseball, right? Football is our number one sport. I totally get it. It's like softball for me. I only watch when they're winning. I'm guilty of that. I've only watched when they've won. I'm guilty, right? I'd probably do the same thing with women's basketball if they were ever any good. If they had a decent coach. Maybe they do now. I don't know. I get it, right? And I kind of come on towards the end of the year when it's tournament time or whatever. There's a lot of that, though. There's a lot of fans who didn't watch any of the year, or they watched a couple of games and now they're mad, right? Totally fine. I mean, they have every right to be mad, but it's the fan that that every single pitch was on the edge of their seat. Hey, man, tip of the cap to you. Hopefully they can get the job done this offseason. I think they're going to keep a lot of this roster, and we'll see what they do next year. For the casual fan, it's in a way it's really hard for you because you know what? The only sports you really like, only one of them you're any real good at, right? Basketball. Football's probably going to be another disappointing year. So I don't know. That's why I've been telling people, like, I get being my phone's it's getting hot in my hand. It's getting really hot. Try to charge the phone. But yeah, if only they turn that double play. Oh my God. Man, we'd be having a different conversation tonight. I don't even know if I would have gone live. I would have waited till tomorrow, but it is what it is. At least LSU gets an extra game. Well, not really an extra game, but an extra day to get ready for Coastal Carolina. I'm taking LSU. There's just too much power, too much consistency, too many arms. I think they're going to overwhelm Coastal Carolina. Coastal might get a game. They're awfully they could be a nuisance. I watched them play a little bit through the regionals and in Omaha in the College World Series. They can be a lot to handle, but I just think LSU's. I don't know. LSU may sweep them. I hope I'm wrong. Go Beach Chickens. That's all I'm going to say. Let me see. The fact that Ole Miss has a baseball natty and we don't. You're right, Ty. Pure agony. Yeah, it's tough. 2 days ago, the world was talking about us, right? Perfect, almost a near perfect game. Now they're talking about us again. Yeah, win or lose, Hog fandom is all diehard Arkansas fan knows. Okay, Razor says we were absolutely atrocious with runners in scoring position. Yeah, they were. You're not wrong. Razor, at all. They were bad. They had. Multiple times they had bases loaded, I think, tonight. Now you'll have to forgive me. I was doing the old side eye, watching the game and also paying attention to my daughter blow out her candles. But I watched like 90% of that game, and I'm pretty sure they had bases loaded on multiple different innings, and would come away with like one run. I know they had runners on second and third. They just could not get guys home. Making nine hits, not easy against LSU, but you got to do something with it when you get guys on base. And they just couldn't do it. They couldn't do it in Omaha, period. They just couldn't do it in Omaha, like at all. And it was frustrating. Josh Huffman says baseball, basketball, football, it will never get better. The Hogs should ride off into obscurity like they deserve. The passion, let's see, the passion the fans have is something none of these teams deserve. That's pretty loaded, Josh. My goodness. Hero Blake, I don't know. Coastal scores consistently. They have that undefeated mentality. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but I think LSU is going to overwhelm them. I don't know. Maybe they can ride that momentum into the championship series there. But LSU has not had any issues in Omaha. I don't know who had a tougher postseason run, either Coastal or LSU, but I think LSU's was pretty easy, to be fair. Man, the videos of Devlin Cry. Yeah, the videos are tough, Tony. They are. They're tough to watch. You're not wrong. They really are hard to watch. And it's even worse because, you already have the reputation of what happened the last time when you were playing in the championship series, and what happened with what should have been a routine catch that dropped in between three Hogs. And so you've got the reputation of being choke artist. Now tonight you really confirm that. Tonight you confirmed that you are choke city when it comes to getting to Omaha. I mean, what else would you be saying about another program? What else would you be saying if that were LSU, if that were Ole Miss, if that were Mississippi State, if that were Vanderbilt? Except they go and now they have titles. South Carolina won it back to back. But if the opposite were to be true, if they had these issues, you'd be calling them choke, the choke artists when they get to Omaha. And it's just and you hate it. Golly, you hate it for Dave, man. Especially after seeing him get all teary-eyed. To start this thing and then just for this to end the way that it did. God dang, man. It's brutal. I hate the rest of the sports media world is feeling bad for it. Yeah, no, they are. Did you see ESPN actually tweeted Arkansas? What was it? Arkansas crying after game or whatever on X. Did you see that? They actually tweeted that, dude. I saw that and it just I couldn't. Oh my God, like that is just the worst. That is that's a tough thing to look at and to be like, yeah, that's my team. And I'm not saying they shouldn't. I'm not saying the players shouldn't be like, I would too, right? If you fought that hard and you had the kind of year that you had and you felt like there was a real possibility that you were going to win this thing only to fall flat on your face the way that they did, I would too, man. I'm saying for ESPN to tweet that was just brutal. You just got to give respect to Coastal. Trying to see if I skipped any. Tony Brown said, this was a heartbreaking loss, but I'm not sure how tomorrow would have gone anyways, given the lack of pitching at this point. Well, that's not true, Tony. They still had arms. No, they still had arms to give tomorrow. They were actually still in pretty good shape there. That was as loaded as any team that he's ever sent to Omaha. Gary Davis, at age 64, I'm hyped out. I've seen too much. Gary, I'm 42 in July, man. I can only imagine what you've had to deal with. You guys know, those of you who've been around long enough, you know what my first game was. And if Arky 56 were awake right now, he would tell you what that first game was. My very first game was Citadel. And, yeah. But I can't imagine, listening to my dad talk. Well, it's the opposite though. When you hear an OG talk about the old days of Arkansas athletics, it's actually usually pretty good because they're talking about Sutton or they're talking about Nolan after his second and third year. They're talking about, of course, Lou Holtz and what you did in the Southwest Conference, of course, Frank Broyles and winning a national championship. It's like the opposite. I think it's people my age, in their 40s, 30s, and even late 20s that are like, this has been the roughest run. And yet, the baseball program is doing things they've never done before. So I guess it's not always half glass empty, I suppose. But, man, this just sucks, says Brady Lewis. Don't know if I can rouse myself up to get excited about baseball anymore when we get on these long postseason runs until we finally win it all. That's the thing that you're asking. That's the thing that you're asking fans to do, right? You're asking fans like, oh no, we're going to be great next year. We got all these guys coming back. Again, look at how great you were this year. God, if this team is anywhere near, or next year's team, if they're anywhere near as good as this team, is it going to be enough to, for at least for people who don't always go to the games and for the people who don't watch every game, is it enough to keep people caring now at this point? I mean, I don't know. I'm sure there will be. We all do this every damn year. We we complain about getting knocked out of our own regionals. We complain after the infamous drop foul ball, right? But we're still here every single year. So maybe it really doesn't matter. I don't know. Was this a top 5 all-time Razorback loss? Damn. That's a really good question. I don't know how. There's so many games. If you're talking about all time, you could. What's the game? The shootout when number 1 Texas and number 2 Arkansas played in Fayetteville. You had presidents show up. Arkansas lost that game. 65 when they had to play LSU the year after Arkansas won the title and they lost that game. If I remember right, I seem to remember hearing something about Arkansas choking in that game as well. When they were runner-up to Cal State Fullerton in, what was that, 79 or 81? When was that? When they were runner-up to Cal State Fullerton. That was supposedly a choke job. I don't know. I can't speak to all time. In my adult, in my, again, I'm 41. I don't know, I guess legally since 18, right? Since I was 18. Yeah, this has got to be up there. I don't know how it's not. I don't know how this game is not top 5 all-time letdown. I mean, because you win tonight, you force the next game with LSU. LSU had to go, they had to dig into their bullpen a little bit. Who knows? I just disagree. I don't think we know for sure that LSU eliminates Arkansas. I know it's real easy to say that right now because everyone's really down and out about what happened. I don't know that we know for sure. We feel pretty confident when we say Arkansas would probably lose, and I would side with that, but you never know, right? And unfortunately, we'll never know. This is a pretty meaningful loss. I don't know how it's not a top 5 loss, at least in my adult life. I don't know how it's not a top 5 loss. The Sterner fumble, of course, everyone mentions the Sterner fumble. You're at their place. It's Tennessee. They're big time. At this time, they're big time in college football. That was a huge win early in Houston Nutt's career. That was a stinger. I still remember that, and I will never forget it. And, and I feel bad for Sterner because he's got to deal with people on Twitter always harassing him about that. But, man, yeah, this has got to be up there. For me, it's going to be different for probably someone who's a little bit older, but for me, yeah, this has got to be up there. And I think number 1, I'm not going to say 95 when Arkansas lost the national championship in hoops. I don't think that's number 1 for me. That one hurt. I remember being mad and angry and pissed the entire offseason. And I was so angry. It took me that whole offseason. Then I don't know. I still get a little like, damn, but that's probably, that one's in my top 5, but definitely the infamous the infamous foul ball drop is number 1. I mean, how could it not be? That was for the title. That was for the whole thing. I really think we beat them if we played them tomorrow. That's the craziest thing about all of this is that LSU beat Arkansas outside of one game. But if you go back to that series in Baton Rouge, Arkansas could have won that freaking series. They were in position to win that game and couldn't do it. And got to tip your cap. I would say LSU's 1A, Arkansas's 1B. And listen, I could be wrong. I like Coastal Carolina. Man, they're pretty fun to watch. They do score consistently. They are a good club. Something just tells me that LSU is going to overwhelm them. It may take, they might lose a game, but I think LSU is going to get it. As a young 20-year-old Hog fan, this is the biggest loss of my lifetime. Oh, Judd, this one is not. Over the championship foul ball, you were old enough. That was what? You were in high school when that happened, right? I mean, I was in 8th grade when Sterner fumbled that let's see, what year was that? 98? 99? What year was that? I wasn't even working yet. I was going to Ramey Junior High in Fayetteville. That's all we talked about at school. I'll never forget that. The pop fly's got to be number one. I kind of remember games, in Barnhill Arena when I was real little, going to those games with my dad. I don't remember, only because Todd Day, Oliver Miller, and Lee Mayberry were like my heroes. There are over 301. Yes, there are. That is correct. There's a lot of Division I baseball teams. Good season. Hold on, where'd it go? Good season, a lot easier to accept than what we do yearly with Sam. And that is fair. That's a fair – listen, the baseball program is in the best shape of any program on campus or any team on campus. They're going to Omaha, right? I mean, I know they did in the last 2 years, but like the expectations every year are you're going to host regionals and most likely super regionals, and then you're going to Omaha. Those are the expectations every year. But it's not getting over that hump once you get to Omaha that just has fans on the edge. You can only tease people for so long. I'm just saying. We just royally blanked Coastal, though, with this loss. Now they got to face, and Anderson. Yeah, Anderson's going to be ready to go, dude. Anderson's the real deal. Tanya says it was an okay season. I'm tired of getting to Omaha and saying, oh, well, it was a good season. We need to stop being proud of just making it to Omaha, please. Tanya, that's ridiculous. Tanya, that's silly. Come on. If Arkansas football had won 9 or 10 games in the regular season and lost in the playoffs or whatever, we wouldn't look back on the year and say it wasn't a good season. That's crazy. It was a good season. It just fell apart in Omaha like it always does. Tanya, that's not it. Come on. You usually have really good takes. Come on. That ain't it. Damn it, Tanya. I say the Texas Tech loss back in March was worse than that was a tough one. Yeah, that is fair, Tony. Up 15 with 9. Yeah, and I was on the boat. I was on the cruise watching that and just in disbelief. That was tough. A little bit different because I wasn't as connected to the game because I was on a cruise trying to watch it, trying to pick it up on my phone. Because I bought the daily internet package just to watch Arkansas lose. I don't know. Peanut Butter Posse, whose team stayed home for Omaha. What's up, man? How you doing? God, you guys did so well last year. Like, that was a dream season for Kentucky baseball. Like, you guys sniffing Omaha, it's like, man. For Arkansas, it's just a letdown because we don't continue in Omaha. We get there. We've been there plenty. Yes, I agree, but that's not an established program. We have been good enough. We've been good enough to win time and time again. We just keep falling short. Now, listen, Tanya, I don't disagree, but that doesn't take away from the accomplishments of the regular season. That doesn't take away from what you did during the regular season. I get the frustration part. I get it. You're frustrated. And, yeah, you're right. This team was good enough. I think Arkansas, I would like them to have matched up against Coastal. I would like to have seen that, absolutely. Yeah, baseball not very fun. Isn't that interesting? The sports you suck at, you don't have any interest in. Yes, it was LSU. Going to college out of state makes this even worse because my friends can't relate to this type of disappointment. Oh, God, man. Man. Best baseball team on the planet when no one's watching. I don't know about that. I don't know who's saying that. This was a really good season. Again, anything that it was a great year. It ended once it got to Omaha, right? You had a couple of nice wins in Omaha. At least it wasn't like an early exit. You had a great regular season. And I think it's a great season when you make it to Omaha. It's just so much more bitter and disappointing when you choke the way that you've done it before. Well, ESPN Peanut Butter Posse, they have college baseball. Like you have to go to others or other sports or something on ESPN. Actually, ESPN, they had it on the front page of ESPN, the game. Is it crazy to say that we can't truly trust Arkansas baseball till they prove it? Yeah, I think that's absolutely fair. If Google don't care, you shouldn't. Well, we know why you don't. Because you don't have a baseball program. Your baseball program's a joke. You got one sport to look forward to every year. We have two. You don't ever know what that's like, though. That's all right. If Tanya was talking about occasional Liberty Bowl bids, I'd be in agreement. Oh, man. We had to know when the bracket came out and LSU was on our side of it. Reseed once you get to Omaha. Yeah, they don't reseed, which is really disappointing. But one way or another, do you beat LSU, right? Like, does it matter if they reseeded or not? I guess the only difference would be you'd most likely be in the championship series playing LSU if they put them in the other bracket. I don't know. I don't know what that would look like. By the way, shout out to Direct Service Overhead. Why not? You know, we're still here. We're still doing it. But I do appreciate Travis Ford and the boys. Same-day services, quality parts, affordable outcomes. Link is provided for you down below. I know I said all night I was getting text messages and DMs and people tagging me on Twitter and in Discord asking me to go live, and I was like, I don't want to. I don't want to do it. But here we are. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I saw that. LSU's Jello Shots was pretty crazy. Pretty nuts. They got up there. They got up there like as soon as LSU showed up, man. They started buying them Jello Shots. Again, I'm going to say it. I think LSU wins the whole thing. I'm rooting for Coastal Carolina, though. Helfrich was pretty damn good tonight. He had a couple of RBIs with the home run. Had that one, the one with 4 at-bats. Davalon tonight, not great, but not terrible either. Vahiva Aloy, he did have a hit and a run, but struck out 3 times. Both the Aloy brothers combined for 5 strikeouts. I don't know if Vahiva is a lock for the Golden Spikes. I still think he should win it, but that play at the end, when he could have turned that double play, I don't. Am I missing something on that play? Like, why was it just like it's safer to just go to third? Like, what was the call there? Was he instructed to do that? Vital Shees tonight gave up 2 earned runs, but he did pitch 5 innings, gave up only 3 hits. He had 9 strikeouts. I think that's a season high for him, I'm pretty sure. Gackle came out. He struggled a little bit. He did walk a couple. He had 4 Ks, 4 hits, just 1 earned run. Gibbler tonight definitely had kind of we really needed him to be a little more solid than he was, but it's not all on him. Again, some of the stuff that the infield was doing and guys slipping and falling, it's hard to put it all in pitching. But yeah, Arkansas ended up pitching 4 arms tonight. Gackle, Gibbler, and Jimenez. And don't forget, they had plenty of arms left. I mean, who knows what could have happened. I mean, I would probably have put my money on LSU, just the way they've played since getting to Omaha. But who knows? Who knows, man? You got to take it one game at a time. I did say when Arkansas got there, I picked them to win the whole thing. This just felt like the most complete team they have ever sent. Certainly since Dave Van Horn's been doing it. This was a really complete team. I thought they did great in their regional and super regionals. They just seemed like they were for sure, and not just because they were the highest seeded team left, but they were for sure the team to beat. And it took LSU to knock them out. It's not like UCLA didn't knock you out. Like this felt like it was going to be LSU, or probably Arkansas wins the whole thing. I mean that LSU, it's like North Carolina all over again for hoops, right? LSU got in your way. Now, to be fair, Arkansas was not the best team in the tournament when you're talking about, when Mike Anderson was here, when he got knocked out by North Carolina. But, I mean, it's the opposite here. Arkansas, it felt like, was the best team in Omaha, but they had to get through LSU. And LSU's got your number. They walk away with the win. But again, they got 9 hits. They weren't completely shut down. LSU was on the edge of their seats, especially towards the end of this game. They went back and forth in those final couple of innings, had some lead changes. It felt like we're going to see an offensive explosion, and it took Arkansas making mistakes defensively for LSU to get the win. I agree. It was more Arkansas gave this game away than LSU beating them. I think that's fair. So, just is what it is. Make sure you guys like the stream. Do me a favor, hit the like button. Ty, there's always the fever. Sophie Cunningham is my new favorite player. Yeah, I've been seeing people tweet about her a lot lately. UCLA was all sophomores. Is majority of our team coming back? Well, who cares? UCLA. I mean, Pigpen. The way I look at it, man, I see what you're saying. I guess they were a younger team. I don't remember off the top of my head, but who cares, man? When you're in Omaha, you're playing. Those are the best teams that in postseason play. They may not have all been the best teams throughout the regular season, but those are the best teams in postseason play. I don't care if you're a team full of freshmen. A win's a win, and then Arkansas. Again, it took LSU to knock Arkansas out, and even if Coastal Carolina beats LSU, that doesn't take anything away from the fact that it took. You didn't lose to anybody else but LSU. Maybe that just means you're the third best team in Omaha, not the second. Aloy has been cold since mid-May, but DVH kept trotting him out there, at least move him down in the order. I was a little bit surprised they didn't make adjustments to the order tonight. I kind of thought they might, and I don't think they did. I was a little surprised by that. Kind of thought they would. So, Tanya wants to know, do you think there's any coaching staff changes? Talking to some people, it might be difficult to keep. And I know everyone's off on Nate Thompson. But I'm going to tell you that he is highly thought of. I realize, there's people who want to write off everything about him based on the last couple of years and then postseason play this year. I don't know whose decision it was to trot a freshman out on the mound, but that always seems like a bad decision. But it's also difficult to put it all on him. So I don't know if that was a decision made by the pitching coach. But I realize, too, when you talk about the hitting, people are all over Nate Thompson. They want him gone. They don't see that as a bad thing. I don't know. I mean, again, talking to some folks, feel like there's several guys off this staff. It might be difficult to get them all back. Now, I don't know if that's a good or bad thing necessarily. Dave Van Horn, there's probably not very many coaches as well connected as DVH. But who knows? They may come back fully intact. Baseball is a weird sport when it comes to coaching changes in college. It's a weird sport. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. I know there's some young, up-and-coming former Dave Van Horn guys working their way up. There were some names thrown at me. If Nate Thompson did decide to leave, I need to go back and ask about that list. But there are some names if Thompson were to leave. And I get it. I'm not real thrilled with their approach at the plate either. And how you hit balls in that park. Like, I wonder how much of that is an issue, or is it just Arkansas choking and it doesn't matter what stadium you play in? I don't know. Tie, even had we won it, it would have been tough to beat them again tomorrow. Again, Hog Blitz, I'm not saying it wouldn't, man. I don't know why you keep saying that. I hear you. Hog Blitz, I hear you. I hear you. Let it go. It's not happening. I don't think it's guaranteed that Arkansas loses either. Routine fly ball and routine double play win isn't good enough. Matt Hobbs, head coaching and waiting, or head coach for another team. Yeah, I agree with that. With Hobbs, Hobbs is also very well. Yeah, again, you can say what you want about any of this coaching staff. I'm going to tell you, they're going to be on the short list for other programs. They just are. I wouldn't be shocked at all if they have to replace them both. It wouldn't shock me. Just is what it is. How do you break this curse? I don't know, man. I was thinking about going down to the there's a Civil War cemetery, unless Fayetteville residents tore it down. I don't know. But there's a Civil War cemetery, and apparently I've heard there's Indians buried in there too. But I was thinking about going there and like apologizing to the if there's any Indians there, like, hey, on behalf of Arkansans everywhere, in the University of Arkansas, in the city of Fayetteville, in the state of Arkansas, we apologize. Okay? Can we lift this curse? But here's the thing. You have won titles. They win all the time in a sport no one really cares about in track. They've won basketball, damn near won that thing twice. Football, damn near won 2 titles. And baseball's in Omaha every year. So I don't know. I mean, what kind of curse is this? I don't know. Sam was probably there giving pointers tonight. Hog Blitz. Man, dude, we could be on a cruise in Alaska and you'd be talking about how the staff is terrible and it must be Hunter Yurchek and Sam Pittman. God, you got to let it go. Like, it's off season, bro. We don't have a major national title in the 21st century. Okay, but we still have. Come on, let's think about this. If you're talking about the Indian burial grounds, how long ago was that? King Command. How long ago was that? And have we won titles since that time? Yes, we have. Let's see. I already read that. Who's my team? I am a Cardinal fan. And it's not real fun right now. We've fallen back. We were like a game behind Chicago, and now we're now like 7.5 games out or something. I don't know. How about watch baseball instead of just trying to get views? I like you and your show, but I don't know. FKSU? Jeremy, lay off the 122 proof Knob Creek, my friend. Put down the knob. Put whatever it is you're drinking, man. Put it down. I mean, my God. Do you go into other Arkansas live shows and tell them the same thing? By the way, we're all here to get views, whether you like it or not. But I also, like, as Trey Biddy once said on one of his walk and talks, this is as much therapeutic for us as it is for you. So, I don't know, man. Go to another live show and bitch. I don't know what to tell you. Worth noting, Sam was the only major sport coach that did not tweet about the baseball program at Omaha. You know what? I saw someone bring that up, and that is kind of interesting, but I think he kind of walks away from social media. I don't think he's a big fan. So I think during the offseason, he's just gone. Yeah, I don't know about this taxing the NIL. You guys are going to have to fill me in on that. I don't know what that's all about. I've seen someone comment about it, and I don't know. So, of course, they're trying to tax NIL instead of fighting to make donations tax deductible. Is this a pre-existing law that's maybe affecting the NIL? Or is it just something in the books down in in Little Rock that just is affecting the NIL? Like they have to tax it because it's already kind of on the books, or is this a new law they're trying to draw together? Like what? I don't know. I guess we'll have to get you guys. You guys are gonna have to explain that to me. I don't know anything about that. I'm an Arkansas fan, just pissed with two D's off venting. Okay. Well, I mean, I don't know. I get it, but I don't know why you're going to take shots at the guy trying to get his therapy session. I don't know. I'm just here to get my therapy session. You guys are actually my therapist. You don't realize it. Talking makes it better. Talking is how you cope, right? Ty, thanks sincerely for allowing me to share my misery. Gary, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. It's so frustrating. If I was going to do a post game, after how dramatic that ending was, I would definitely have immediately gone live had Arkansas won that game. And I would have gone live. I mean, I would have just. Well, no, then again, I probably wouldn't because we got my 13, like I said, we got a 13-year-old now. She just turned, our oldest daughter turned 13, and we were hanging out with her a little bit, eating her cake. My wife worked really hard on the cake. It was really good. I already feel 6% better. Thanks, Ty. Well, I'm happy I contributed, hopefully contributed in that 6% one way or another. Hey, don't forget to hit the like button, even if you're mad at me and you're calling me just out here getting clicks or whatever. You know what? God bless you. You're in here anyways. Make sure you hit the like button. So players would have to pay a higher percentage of state tax. I don't know. Again, I don't know anything about that stuff. I've not seen that. If that is the case, that sucks. Christian Bradley says Sam has zero idea how to use a smartphone. Man, even in a live show about baseball, shit in the bed, you guys are still taking shots at Sam. Damn. I forgot our head coach got cyberbullied off Twitter. Yeah, he did. He did. Taylor Green and Bobby Petrino are two reasons why we win more than 5. I hope so. Did you guys see? So Athlon magazine and Lindys preseason magazines came out. They're brutal. I mean, if you haven't read them yet, I've got them. I haven't. I only looked where they placed Arkansas. I haven't read a thing yet. I like trying to take in as much information as I can from different writers or whatever. And they were not nice to Arkansas. I think Lindys put Arkansas back in the 60s, just ahead of Vanderbilt. It was rough. I don't know if you guys read preseason sports magazines. I've bought them, including Phil Still and Hootens, which has gotten ridiculously expensive. I remember when that magazine was like $10. It's now like double that. But I've every year for the last, God, since I was in probably 9th grade, 10th grade, every year, every off season. So, and it's not unheard of for Lindys to be pretty harsh on Arkansas, but man, Arkansas is not getting a lot of love from these preseason magazines. I realize everyone or not everyone takes those very seriously, and nor should you. But I feel bad for those players, Ty, especially Davalon and Kojal. Yeah. After this, I feel a Star Trek TNG binge coming on, says Thomas Nunley. Yeah, there's some movies I want to binge watch. Like I've seen 100 times, but I want to watch them. I've got a list this offseason that I want to rewatch. I'm really excited for Tron. Well, I'm not excited for Tron Ares, because it's Disney and everything and I realize Legacy, like all 3 Tron movies are Disney. I get that, but lately Disney's just been terrible with their bullshit messaging and their swapping of gender and all this shit. Like it's just, oh man, it's just like not, and there's no focus on storytelling anymore. So I'm not that hyped about Tron Ares, but Tron Legacy is a must-watch. If you guys have never seen Tron Legacy, oh my God, it's so good. I'm going to watch Dracula. I'm going to do that this weekend. Bram Stoker's Dracula. It's an all-timer. Anyways, yeah, and there's some shows I want to binge watch. There's a show on Apple right now that's got one of the, what's their name? Skarsgård. It's got one of the brothers. I think it's the oldest brother. He plays like a robot. And it's getting decent Internet Movie Database points. So I want to watch that show. And they're like 6 or 7 episodes in. I forgot what it's called. I think it's supposed to be like a comedy. I don't know. It looks good. And I like the Skarsgård. I wouldn't know anything about that, Christian. I've been watching Department Q. I don't know what that is. I've never heard of it. Do I need to look it up, Razor, or are you trolling me? The new live action for How You Train Your Dragon was actually good. Yeah, I also heard the Lilo and Stitch remake, whatever, the live action was really good. You know, I just tuned in, and what's up, Aiden? How you doing, man? I just tuned in and just want to say I'm a grown-ass man. I cried after that loss. I don't think DVH makes it to the College World Series before he retires. Wait, you mean you don't think he wins? I know he wants it bad, but an uneasiness that sets in trying to win. Yeah. Well, I mean, I get it, you know. May I suggest Spartacus? I've seen Spartacus. Are you talking about the one, Gary, on that was on Stars that had what's his name playing Spartacus, and he died? The Australian guy that passed away. Really good Spartacus. If that's who you're talking about, I've watched that series like 5 times. That's one of my favorite series. What the hell's his name? Played a great Spartacus. Oh my God, it was so good. And the guy that played Crixus, the short New Zealand guy, really dark complected. He plays. He's in a bunch of movies. He was like Deathstroke in the Arrow series. He's awesome. Crixus, the guy that played Crixus, and what's his name that passed away from cancer playing Spartacus. Excellent series. Just watched, when they follow the series up after they move on to a different Spartacus, it's just not as good. But, oh my God, that show is so good, dude. Season 1, right? I don't want to spoil it, but, I mean, if you know the story of Spartacus, you know what happens during the Third Servile War in Rome? Second Servile War. So if you know the outcome of that, but it's so good. Spartacus is fantastic. That is it came out a few years after 300. And if you guys remember 300, great movie. It's shot in that same kind of style, that Zack Snyder kind of style of cinematography. It is so good. I loved it. I love 300. And I like Spartacus. It was really good. Anyways, yeah. It's a pretty good sign that we're wrapping it up here when we're talking about stuff that's not related to the Razorbacks. But I'm going to go back to watching Home Improvement. I do appreciate you guys. Thank you for being here. I realize I'm just a shill for views, but I know, that individual said he was just upset and he apologized. But I'm just a shill for views. Aren't we all? But I appreciate everyone, and if you haven't already, consider joining Patreon. And I don't know if we're gonna do. I know we should be back on Monday, the Monday Night Lights live show with. I don't know if Travis Ford will be available. Hopefully, Tim Neal will be here, and we could do that. If not, it may be another solo show, and I'm perfectly fine with that. But I don't know what's going on with my phone here. Anyways, I know I'm a clickbaiter. I know it. But Arkansas shits the bed in Omaha. That's how we're going to end it. Unfortunate, disappointing. but it is what it is. I'm not gonna concede that this was some kind of a bad year. I think it was a good year that just ended in disappointment. I guess that's the final thing I'll say on it. Yeah, we'll be right back next year when Arkansas, we're gonna buy into all the hype. But I kind of wonder for some of the, for some Hog fans, how serious are they going to take it? Are they going to go through the entire season? The diehards will travel. The diehards will absolutely go to Baum Stadium, and God bless them. But you kind of wonder about some of the other fans that are already not big baseball fans. Are they going to hang around this long? When everything that Arkansas achieved this year, you've got a Golden Spikes finalist on your roster. You make it to Omaha. You have this kind of a season, only to fail the way that you did again. But Hog fans, even the most casual Hog fans, and I don't say that as a slight. Every fan base has casuals. I've become, I'm not even gonna lie about it, I've become kind of a casual Celtics fan. I don't watch them. It's something about the NBA. I don't even really like watching it anymore. It's just not fun. I've become a casual Celtics fan. You know what? And that's perfectly fine. I'm still there. Still support them. I wear my green and white, baby. I've got my pennant behind me and all my Celtic stuff. Same with I'm not a casual Cardinal fan. I love the Cardinals and I keep up with them even when they're bad. But it's okay to be casual. But even the most casual Hog fan is any other program's most diehard fan. So it's not a bad thing to be a casual Razorback fan, but you wonder how many of them that aren't really super into baseball are they going to buy in like they did this year? Because I'm telling you, a lot of fans really did. So I know, Mitchell. I know you're upset, but I have become a casual when it comes to the Celtics. I kind of keep up with like what's going on, maybe with Jordan Walsh. Tatum is disappointing as always in postseason play. It's just hard for me to care anymore. I don't know. Maybe that's part of getting older. I don't know. But anyways, that's it. I do appreciate you guys. I'll see you probably next Monday. I'll be back. Yeah, I'll be back Monday or Tuesday. Probably Monday. So that's it. Like, share, subscribe on your way out. I'm going to bed. You guys take care. Have a good rest of your week. And, yeah.